Hello everyone, this is Associate Professor Gantz, Nobi, Department of Gaming. I'm coming here to talk to you about how Broc's aura works. I know this is kind of a weird video to do, and after doing some testing, uh, it confirmed some things, and uh, I also found some things out, which I thought was very interesting. So we'll see here, when activated, this ability provides immunity to knockbacks and increase the range of your aura. In turn, teammates within the range enhances the effects of Broc's life of the party, which is his aura. So even though it said that, I originally thought when you used your ability that your teammates didn't have to be in your aura for you to get the benefit of the percentage increase. Which is 55% at P5, 45% at below that. Anyways, so going into Master Influence and things like that, how does his aura work? So as you can see, fear reduction per leader, melee damage per warrior, range damage per hunter, and cooldown speed increase per support. Now, there is no visual indication that this is doubled if you have two warriors or two supports or two leaders. But after doing testing, it does work. So I did that with, in solo queue, I had two warriors and my damage did increase to 24%. And that's because of Master of Influence. It normally would be 20%. So I feel like Master of Influence is useful in if you're using a double character, double role. It is useful. The reason I'm doing this testing is because I'm trying to make a ball counter video, and which I'm wanting to see if actually going a double roll would increase the percentage from 10 to 20. And I'm making basically an anti-fear team comp. Now, this isn't the team comp I would go with here. You wouldn't really need this like that. You would be more into range in this sort of composition. Really, fast forward would be decent, but since you're going for an anti-fear team, I think Fear No Evil is better, and just work on a balance bar here for range. So the team I'm coming up with is to go up against Ball. Ball's perfect counter is what I would consider it. Is a double leader comp, but instead of Ruby, you'd be using Broc and leader Ash. And basically, I've been trying to calculate what is the max amount of fear resistance you can have. And just leader Ash himself, it's 85%. And that's with no fear, no evil, and no LFA Grande. Is 85%, and with that's max pink F as well. But with El Jefe Grande, it's 115% to 135, which means if you do a finisher or anything like that. So that means that your fear is going to be going down. But the reason I wanted to do that is because you have to worry about your hunters getting possessed as well. But that's another 20% here. And a pink F, they should have enough fear resistance if you go with Leader Ash and Broc, because not only are you going to have the fear resistance that Leader Ash provides, which is 25%, but then you got another 25, 24% from Broc himself. So that's just a total of 50% on top of the Fear No Evil is 20%. So that's already 70% without having El Jefe Brocked or having Broc's ability Brocked, which would be 7% increase from the 24%. So it'd be 33% fear resistance when you use your ability with Broc. So you can get pretty high up there with the fear resistance, and my whole deal is to create a team comp that can produce damage and also be able to handle any demon, just fear resistance. So as you can tell, it's probably going to be support Ash here. Now he has no fear, no evil, and that's because I have points here. But in reality, you would have it like this, and then just kind of move some points around so you have a little bit of damage for range. Something like this. The reason for that is you're not really going to be meleeing ball that much, and you're going to be really focusing on your range damage on marking targets, and just focusing on your dodges. So you turn him into this range character, but still kind of work on balance bar if you have to. You don't really need the major heals like you would normally use for final hit, because if he's using his fury, you know, the basics are going to be hitting too much anyways. So you're not going to really be able to get that last hit off. And especially if you're marked as well, you want to avoid that. So sometimes just marking the enemy would be better. So the Fear No Evil coming in clutch there. But you could change this. Instead of going Hunter Ash, you can go Warrior Ash as well. And just have an anti-fear build this way, where instead of balance bar, you're going, because Ball's balance bar is so strong, just focus more on the fear part here and doing damage. And for providing you could switch this down to low to do 20 more percent damage, because you're going to be mostly marked as a warrior. Or you could just put the points into the basics here, but I don't want you to, like, for me it's like, oh, you shouldn't get too much damage resistance, because then you're not going to do enough damage. And then based off of your build there, you know, you could change Broc's build around. And if you really want to be like ballsy and think that like, oh, that's still not enough damage, you can go Leader Ash, Broc, Warrior Ash, and Hunter Ash, and you're going to have all that fear resistance, and Broc would be a pseudo support. So yeah, that's kind of like my thought process. It's like, what is the best kind of team comp to go against Ball, and what's the max amount of fear resistance you can have? Now, Leader Ash by himself, the max fear resistance he can have is 135%, and that's with Master of Influence, with Fear No Evil, and maxed out on pink Fs. After doing the calculation of stuff, it's 60% fear resistance with El Jefe Grande procced, and Master of Influence. 20% from Fear No Evil, and then 55% from pink Fs, and that's what gets you the 135%. So yeah, if you just go with Fear No Evil and the pink Fs for Hunter, I think it's just 50 to 90% fear resistance you can get. So yeah, but like I said, that's going to be its own video. I'm just going over all the calculations I've been going through. People say that Master of Influence isn't really needed on Broc, and and that I would consider a true statement. If you're going one warrior, one hunter, I don't think Master of Influence is needed. I think you need to have more of a hunter slash warrior build with him, and just something like this. That way you could do melee damage and hunter damage. Basically, you just hit off last word, and then you go with the barrel stuff with a double barrel, and get some shots off while you're using all eyes on me. So yeah, that's kind of the video I'm trying to come up with, is what's the max fear resistance your team can receive, and that way people can handle ball a little bit better. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.